In this video, I'm just gonna go over calories and how can you calculate your calories, how can you calculate your macros. So your three main macros are your carbs, fat, and your protein. So first things first, calories. Everything that you eat have some sort of calories, right? Yes, some things do have 0 calories, but for the most part, everything that you eat, on the back of the nutrition label, there is some type of calories. So I'll have an image right here. That's your nutrition label. And that's gonna be some sort of calories on that nutrition label. And 3 things you want to look for is your fats, your carbs, and your protein. So for a lot of individuals out there, you don't have to pay someone to calculate your calories. You don't have to pay someone to calculate your macros. You can do this on your own. There's plenty of websites out there where you could do this. So you paying for the service is kind of a waste of your money unless that person is actively adjusting your calories and your macronutrients from week to week, or after a period of time they're helping you adjust it according to your weight. So that's the only time I see where you pay someone and it's actually worth it in terms of them creating your macronutrients, them tracking your calories and helping you adjust those calories and macros. So how can you calculate your calories? So there's a very simple way to calculate your calories. There's this rule where you could just multiply your weight times either 10 up to 14, right? So that's the range. You can either go on the lower end of the spectrum if you're trying to lose weight, or the higher end of the spectrum if you're trying to gain weight, right? So times it by 14 if you're trying to gain weight, times it by 10 if you're trying to lose weight. And there's also the midpoint, right? So times it by 12. So what I recommend for a lot of people, if you don't want to calculate your macros, first thing you want to do is just calculate your calories. Take your body weight, times it by 12, and you'll get a good number in terms of where to start in terms of your caloric intakes. That's a place where you can start off, and it's just a trial and error. So even with like coaches that you hire or professionals you hire online who do your macros, do your consultations or calorie, macronutrients, whatever those numbers they're trying to give you, it's all trial and error. So even with my clients, people I work with, it's all trial and error. It's nothing 100% correct at the start. It might be sometimes because you might just get lucky and those numbers just work out fine for your clients, but it's all about, you know, doing it for a couple weeks or doing it for at least 2 weeks and then adjusting, and then you'll get a good understanding of where your calories are at. So that's one way of doing it. Calculate your calories by first getting your weight, times it by 10 to 14, depending on that range. Lower range for losing weight, higher range for gaining weight, but 12 for that midpoint. Okay, next thing you want to do, a little more specific in terms of macronutrients. Take your weight. So the first thing you want to calculate is your protein. So the first thing you want to calculate after you calculate your calories, so your calories you can calculate either with BMR Calculator or a TDE calculator. So BMR Calculator is just basal metabolic rate, so the amount of calories your body burns on a daily basis without you doing any type of extra activity. Alright, so you can do a BMR calculator simply online, any type of website. Just type in Google BMR calculator, you'll find your BMR, and then you want to probably add 300 to 500 calories to that depending on your activity levels. So there's other calculators out there that are a little better. It will like ask you, like that's when TDE calculator comes into play. So your total daily expenditure, right? So TDE, that's another calculator which is a little better than BMR because it will ask you questions like how many times a week you work out, your weight and your height, of course, and then it'll calculate a certain amount of calories that your body needs. So once you get that number, so first thing you want to do is just understand how many calories are in a gram of protein, gram of carb, and gram of fat, right? So for every gram of protein you have 4 calories, every gram of carbs you have 4 calories, and every gram of fat you have 9 calories, right? So once you have this metrics written down, then you want to get into calculating how much protein your body needs. So like I said, is calculate your protein. So protein, you could go anywhere between 0.8 grams of protein per pound of body weight all the way up to 1.2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. There is no side effect of eating too much protein unless you have a predisposed health condition already. Other than that, eating too much protein is not gonna be an issue. To be honest, a lot of people lack protein as one of their main macronutrients, so eating more protein is actually gonna be a little more helpful for a lot of people in their diet. So anywhere between 0.8 to 1.2 is the range you want to calculate the amount of protein your body needs, right? So if you're an individual that's a little more on the overweight side and you're on the heavier side in terms of your body fat percentage, you should probably go with the lower end of the spectrum in terms of protein. Because for let's say for an example, an individual that's 200 pounds, for them to eat 200 grams of protein is a lot of protein, right? So especially for someone who's more on the overweight side and obese side, you want to try to just stick with maybe 0.8 to 1 gram per pound of body weight for your protein. So pick a range, 0.8 to 1.2. If you're trying to lose weight and gain muscle and all that stuff, probably the best number to stick with is 1 gram per pound of body weight. If that's a little too much for you to handle, then just go maybe 0.9, 0.8, but at least 0.8. I think a lot of people don't even get in 0.8 grams of protein daily per pound of body weight. So once you get that number figured out, save that number and times that by 4. So you want to times that by 4, and that way you get the calories, the total calories in that protein amount that you just calculated, that you need for your specific body. Okay, so fats is typically the next one you want to calculate. To be honest, how you distribute the rest of your calories into fats or carbs, it really depends on the individual, whether or not you enjoy eating more carbs or you enjoy eating more fat. So for fats, I like to give the range of 30 up to 50% of the remaining calories left in the total amount that we have here. So give or take 30 to 50%, right? So if you're a person that you like your fat sources and you like to eat a lot of, let's say, avocado, you like to eat a lot of nuts, peanut butter, stuff like that, then maybe be on the higher end of the spectrum in terms of calculating your fats and how much fat you need. So be on the spectrum of 40, maybe up to 45% for your fats. And then of course, keep that number on the side, right? So once we have that number on the side here, so once we have these two numbers here, we want to add them up. Once we have that figured out, you want to subtract it from the total calories that your body needs, and then you have your remaining calories left, and then that's when you just calculate your carbs, right? So your carbs here is whatever that's left over. So the remaining calories will be the calories divided by 4, and then that'll give you the amount of carbohydrates your body needs for this given calories that you inputted. So now you have your protein, your carbs, and your fats, right? So you have all these three right here, and then once you add those up, it should total up into the amount of calories your body needs. That's how you calculate your carbs, fat, and proteins. If you want to be a little more specific in terms of your goals and what you should be eating, and that's really it, right? For people who want to just calculate the calories and macros, you don't have to hire someone, you don't have to pay someone $100 just to do a one-time thing. You could do it on your own, right? There's so many calculators out there. If you don't want to do any of this, and you just want a calculator that calculate your macros for you and everything I just said, you go to, I'm not sponsored by this website at all, but I think this dude did an amazing job creating this calculator for individuals. When I first started just calculating my own calories and my macros and how much food I should be eating, I just use this calculator. So if you don't want to do any of this, cut all this nonsense out, just go to if it fits your macros, IIFYM, I think .com. I'll have the link down in the description, and you just input your information. I think you put in your email and it will give you everything that you need. So yeah, that's all it takes. Just some Google work, some searching online, and you could easily calculate your calories for the day and how much you should be eating. So that's how you calculate your calories and your macros. for those individuals that want to be a little more accurate when it comes to tracking, when it comes to tracking what they're eating, and also how much they're eating. That way they know if they're losing weight, gaining weight, or maintaining their body weight. All right, so hopefully that was helpful. If you guys find that helpful, please subscribe to my channel and also like the video, give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions or comment, leave it down below and I'll help you answer them. All right, hopefully that was helpful.